Don't forget, the next video after this part has already been made and is live now on my Patreon for you to see straight after you've watched this. Fully voice acted, soundtracked, and with my signature editing up for early access to the incredible 2,500 plus patrons who support my work from just $3 with more and more access at higher tiers. This has long been requested to have the full next video early available to you guys who just can't wait for what happens next on Ultra Vegito. And now it's finally here. Links are below, head there after the video. So our story continues with Ultra Vegito finally arriving on the planet of Champa, with the help of Whis' staff. Around him, the area can hardly be told apart from the planet of the late Beerus we had all been used to seeing. Ultra Vegito, still in his final form at this point, readying himself for any eventuality on his arrival, immediately begins looking around for his next victim, wondering, things can never be as simple as just arriving and meeting these gods anymore, can they? What's the deal? Where is that damn Champa and his angel? As Vegito continues to look around, it's clear not a soul remains here. No energy traces either. He begins walking around, hoping to see someone fruitlessly until... Is that? Right in front of Vegito in the distance is none other than a pyramid of power. A sight that is all too familiar with Vegito with what it means. As Vegito, at first, stares coldly and comments, so that's their game. Training just like the other gods did to defeat me? How unoriginal. That really all these losers can think of. Before reverting back to base, and now having more of a smile on his face, he lets out with a change in tune. Fine, I guess there aren't too many options to get stronger. But just how much stronger does this obese kitten really think he'd get? That last Beerus trained for 40 years and didn't stand a chance. Maybe this time the angel will be training. I can't see her anywhere. Now that could be interesting. But as time ticks by, Vegito folds his arms, and a dark thought begins to come to mind. But then again, this seems like a massive oversight for them to all be in the pyramid so plainly in sight. Even Universe 7 had Whis guarding. I should really teach them a lesson and blow it up from here. But soon, it seems the thought subsides as calmly Vegito then sits down, crossing his arms and legs as he lets out, no. No matter what, I need Champa and Bodos' energy. After hit, I could use a little break anyway. I'll wait for them to arrive and for my fun to finally begin. And with that said, like a baby, Vegito is out like a light, napping in place like a statue, awaiting the god of destruction and his angel attendant to finally arrive for battle. A few hours would then pass, and eventually, just as Vegito had expected, the heavy doors of the pyramid finally then open up, slowly with a thunderous rumble. And out of it, 3 pairs of feet then finally come out, with a strangely familiar but deep voice saying as they look out, "Hey, I told you, he'd be here just on time." These energies! Their arrival, of course, not going unnoticed by Vegito in the slightest, as soon as their feet hit the soil, Vegito's eyes burst open as if awaking from a nightmare. Quickly, his eyes dart in the direction of what he's sensing, thinking inside as he does so, "These power levels, they're incredible, but this isn't God Key. Who the hell could it be?" Oh! But once his head turns and finally meets with the three mystery assailants, a look of pure shock comes to him as he can only murmur out, Wait a damn second! Aren't you? As shockingly, standing there now after an undisclosed number of years training within the pyramid, the universe 6 Saiyans, Cabba, caulifla, and kale are now seen looking noticeably different and noticeably older. Each bulkier, as if having been under the most strenuous of training regimes, as they walk silently towards their fellow Saiyan. Caulifla, as usual being the most cocky of the trio, as expected, is the first to talk, with her hands on her hips and a smile on her face, then saying, "Haha, seems like these two idiots finally figured out who we are. I guess when they combine brains, they're not so slow. Surprised to see us, Goku and Vegeta?" While the nervous and reserved Kale can only whisper out, They look strong, sis. Are you sure that's them?" While Cabba, with the most serious and steadfast stare of the trio, just remains strangely silent, instead just wondering to himself, "Master, I know the stories can't all be true, or at least there has to be another side. You wouldn't, not unless you had to." But Vegito, who is almost entertained by their appearance and new looks, immediately begins standing up, raising his body as he stares at the Saiyans and lets out with a smile, "Well, I'll be the Saiyans of Universe 6. Now this really is a surprise. I didn't expect Champa to bring all three of you brats out here. Maybe just that monstrous girl one. But Cabba too, huh? Seems like a bit of a waste to send 3 runts out to their deaths." But a change in look then comes to the God Killer's face once he realizes, "Oh wait, actually looking at you now, I guess I shouldn't be calling you runts, should I? You 3 look older than me now. The years inside there have not been good to you, kids. I can't believe you'd waste your youth just to fight me, when you could have just stayed completely out of this." We didn't waste anything! But finally, growing an apparent backbone, Cabba reacts angrily to Vegito's words, lifting his fist as he yells out, "We'll give up anything if it means stopping you. Master, we trained day and night for years with you on our minds, just so we could stop this, so we could stop you. I don't know what happened to make you go down this path, Master, and we don't want to kill you. We just want you to see sense. We know this isn't who you are." But Vegito, on hearing this, can't help but close his eyes and smirk, before replying very sarcastically, "You don't want to kill me. I never took you for a comedian, Cabba, but I guess I should watch my words around you guys. I wouldn't want to overstep the mark and die now, would I? Under the almighty power of you little Super Saiyans. But as for you knowing that isn't who I am, you never knew me to begin with, kid. Especially not after all these years and things I've gone through. Things I don't care to repeat for the millionth time. Just know you're nothing like me and never will be. You still even have your home Saiyan planet. I lost that long ago and lost my adopted home straight after that. If you three are Saiyans, then you fight me to the death like your namesakes. But don't you dare come into it thinking you'll ever change my mind. What? And immediately, though now grown, the young boy from before shows itself inside Cabba when he hears Vegito raise his voice with anger. As Cabba momentarily steps back and thinks to himself, sweating, he's changed. The anger in his voice. Is Master and Goku really inside that guy? As in the background, he can only think of his former teacher, Vegeta. Boring. Enough with your bromance. Let's get this party started. He doesn't want to talk Cabba. He wants to do this the old-fashioned way. As the impatient Saiyan then rummages through her left pocket until... Here they are. It's go time, sis. As caulifla then pulls out shockingly a pair of black Potara. The same angel-grade Potara that Vegito possesses, that will never diffuse unless taken off. Black Potara? How did you get those? Only explanation is Vados must still be in the pyramid. With Champa. Why aren't they coming out as well? Leaving Vegito not only surprised at the position of the divine earrings, but also now puzzled as to why he's even just facing the Saiyans. But meanwhile, both Kale and Caulifla begin putting on their earrings, readying themselves for one thing only. As Caulifla telepathically talks with her adopted sister. Ready, Kale? Just like we practiced. Let's do it! As Kale typically just says back quietly, whatever you want, sis. I'll win this for you. Good. I can't wait to show everyone our new powers. Ha! Before eventually, the two female Saiyans' bodies rush onto each other without warning and uncontrollably, meeting at the hips until... It's good to be back. As in the aftermath of a huge bright light, the fused warrior Kefla appears finally for the second time in the series, in her mastered legendary Super Saiyan form, courtesy of Kale, and noticeably bulkier and stronger looking than ever seen previously. As she cockily with her arms folded then says, "Nice to meet you again, old man. Just know this rematch won't go anything like the last time." Kefla. Amazing. But Vegito, seeing this rush of power from the Saiyan, immediately gains a beaming smile, as if having been looking for this challenge the whole time anyway. As with an impressed tone, he comments, "I see. I haven't seen that form in a long while. Seems you've completely mastered it now. Got your emotions in check. I can feel it. Your power is far beyond what it used to be. It's unfortunate. If you hadn't challenged me today, I would have introduced you to a friend of mine." With that said, Vegito then turns his attention to Cabba and calls out brazenly, "And what about you, kid? What progress have you made, young Cabba? You claim to be my student after all, so you better have not let her show you up. What have you got? Super Saiyan Blue? Ultra Instinct? Show me already." But seemingly triggered and annoyed, Cabba, who at this point can no longer hear or see the master he once knew, just closes his eyes and focuses deeply as he lets out confidently, "No, that's not what I'll be using, Master. I have something the old Mr. Vegito would have been proud of." And suddenly, almost as soon as Cabba makes this mysterious and ominous claim, suddenly the land of the gods begins to fall apart, as the clouds without warning begin shooting powerful thunder and lightning straight onto the ground below, while the mountains themselves surrounding all begin to shatter like glass and separate. And even from the outside looking in on Champa's home, the planet itself shudders under the quake of Cabba's words. What the hell is going on? Vegito, of course, standing around, notices too, becoming nervous as his surroundings slowly turn to destruction all around him, never having even felt such a strange occurrence before, as he comments, "His energy. I don't know what it is. Whatever he's doing, it's spreading through the entire planet. Cabba, just what did you achieve in there?" But suddenly, bursting forth even more violently than the surrounding area, is the ferocious roar of Cabba himself, now missing his pupils as his hair begins to mysteriously lose its color, while a never-before-seen white aura coated in red lightning begins to surround his body as if one with it. But even as it seems he has lost control, the voice of Cabba yells out one final time, "I'll make you proud, Master!" Huh? This kid is still thinking of me? Leaving the God Killer slightly perplexed by just how strong the convictions of the younger Saiyan are, but more so, of course, by the insane energy coming off of him, as not only him, but Kefla too, watch on, needing to cover themselves from the dust and debris. A slightly annoyed face in the meantime, though, finds its way to Kefla, as she lets out, "Damn you, Cabba. What a show-off. Looks like he's not playing around at all. We could have at least had some fun with a warm-up. But this battle is now going to end real damn soon, now that he's gone into that form. What a killjoy." With Vegito listening on nearby, just thinking, "That form? She really thinks whatever he's about to show me will defeat me? Interesting. Very interesting." As from the view of Vegito, we then see the raging aura and clouds of smoke that blow past from the transforming Cabba, while the other fully transformed few Saiyan he must fight lays in wait on the sideline also. And eventually, the transformation ends. The aura which bursts forth dies down, and instead, a thick seal of smoke now covers Cabba, who lays in wait. But as it dissipates, small sections of the Saiyan can be seen. First his clenched fist, then his bulked leg, and then finally his cold lower face. All the while, electricity screams through the fog. And finally, when all is revealed, standing tall is now final Cabba, bearing a striking resemblance to a certain teen Gohan, as his hair stands spiked tall in white, like an angel with one extremely long bang out in front, and most remarkable of all, two crimson red eyes, as if filled with rage, that stares right through into the soul of Vegito, as Cabba lets out simply, "Sorry for the wait. I'm not too used to this form yet. but I'm glad I tapped into it just at the right time. So yes, if you were wondering, this isn't Blue or Ultra Instinct, Master. I call this my final form. Final form? Leaving Vegito nothing short of shell-shocked, having never seen anything like this in all his years. The power coming from it, though not divine, being far above any god or angel he'd witnessed up till now, leaving him to just wonder, how did this brat achieve something like this before me? As Cabba just looks coldly on and asks, surprised, Master? Maybe once we're done here, I'll teach you. That is, if I don't go too far. This comment, of course, slightly lightening up the mood as Vegito begins to laugh and reply, teach me, huh? You've come a long way from when I first showed you how to become a Super Saiyan, kid. Who knew you even had something like this in you? I've never seen anything like it. But you know, you always were pretty boring in the transformation department. Knowing you, this is the last thing I'd have ever expected from you. But just as Vegito finishes patronizingly saying that, in an instant, in a showcase of unbelievable speed and precision, Final Cabba appears in front of Vegito and says calmly, well, looks like if I don't know you, then you definitely don't know me either, Vegito. As Cabba, then with intense power, slams Vegito across the face so hard that within an instant, Vegito's body is already sent flying far from the young Saiyan, bleeding from the mouth and in complete shock from Cabba's strength. And mid-flight, as his body uncontrollably moves towards a nearby rock face, Vegito can only think, this kid, I need to find out whatever this is and make it mine. Until eventually crashing hard onto the mountain, instantly being engulfed within it. Meanwhile, from afar, having sent the God Killer miles away, Final Cabba remains still covered in aura and red lightning, thinking, looks like Lord Champa was right. This power is too much for even him. Don't get cocky with me, brat! But almost as if hearing Cabba's own thoughts, Vegito immediately explodes from the mountain, yelling at the top of his voice as blood from his mouth begins to evaporate off from the heat of his rage, now surrounded in a yellow aura and blue lightning as he enters his Super Saiyan 2 form. But as still confidently smirking kefla in the meantime just looks on saying, since when did this become about just you two? You know you still have me to get through, don't you? Don't underestimate me. Stay out of this, weakling. You'll get your chance soon. First I want to see what young Cabba can do. Defiantly raising his energy even more as he stands staring at Cabba and not even sending as much as a glance over at kefla until... What? Out of nowhere, the true improvements of kefla are made clear as in the span of a nanosecond, the fused warrior appears ducked below Vegito, with her hands gripped on his chest, saying menacingly, haha, listen, I don't think you realize, it's not you who calls the shots around here, old man. Die! Before blasting off flank with a massive column of ki that simply vanishes Vegito as he's sent flying back even further than before, landing for a monstrous explosion in the distance as Cabba then quickly teleports and arrives beside his fellow Saiyan, still not saying another word. Kefla, though, proud of what she's just done, places both her hands on her hips and with her chest up high says, "Hahaha, I can't let you have all the fun, Cabba. This is as much my fight as it is yours. By the way this is going though, doesn't look like there'll be much for us to share. He's way weaker than I thought he'd be." But Cabba, who through the years has grown to not be as naive as the two girls, just says in a serious tone, "No, don't underestimate him, Kefla. You know what Champa has told us, and you know firsthand what those two can really do. This battle is only just getting started. Be on guard, he's coming." And just as Cabba had predetermined, bursting forth from the wreckage and smoke once again is Vegito, but this time in a form we hadn't seen yet from him, in his Super Saiyan 3 form this time, but now surrounded by his signature black lightning too, before standing up tall once again, this time now looking at Kefla and saying, "I forgot, you always were a bit of a drama queen, weren't you? I guess leaving you out is an impossibility with your patience." Until a smirk then comes across Vegito's face as he remembers. You know what? Come to think of it, back in the Tournament of Power, weren't you two girls pestering me to show you this form and how to do it? Well, how about we have that lesson here and now? Call it a practical assignment. And on hearing that, both Cabba and Kefla then get themselves into fighting stance, as if readying themselves for the inevitable. But while Cabba seems cautious, Kefla looks to him with a smile and says, "He seems like he's done with the games now, Cabba. You think I should spoil the surprise and show him what I can really do?" To which an unfazed Cabba, who seemingly couldn't care less, just responds, "Do what you want. This isn't a game, Kefla. Whoever this guy is, Goku and Vegeta or not, he means business. I can sense he wants to kill." But these comments only serve to excite the ladies, as Kefla then, with a frankly sinister smirk, looks to Vegito and says, "Funny you would remember that now, old man. I guess the dementia hasn't gotten to you just yet. But a lesson now? For what? I asked you to teach me how to become a Super Saiyan 3 literally decades ago. You don't think I learned it myself by now?" And suddenly, in a shock turn of events, Kefla too transforms into a Super Saiyan 3, but of course, her own legendary variant that seems infinitely stronger than any version of the form we'd seen in the past. Thunder and lightning roaring all over her body as her aura forms a ball of spikes surrounding her. Of course, the sight of this and power level sensed, causing Vegito himself to step back in shock as he mutters, "Whoa, you've got to be kidding! I knew these kids improved fast, but this is unreal!" As immediately, final Cabba and Super Saiyan 3 Kefla then stand their ground, in stance and staring at Vegito, ready to begin the Saiyan battle of all Saiyan battles, while Vegito, now readied in stance himself, is left just to smirk and let out finally. Looks like this will be a whole lot more fun than planned. Bring it on, punks! But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag Cabba in the comments down below if you need to see this Saiyan 3-way battle, or just find out what happens right now on my Patreon, where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked, and edited for you to enjoy with over 2,500 other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fan mangas too. It's the deal of the century.